Hey now! What is up, everybody? My name is Mike Brown, aka Review King MB, and boy, oh boy, I just got back from the theaters after seeing Kraven the Hunter. That Storm? Spider-Man? Spider-Man, Spider-Man, radioactive. This is a 2024 film that, if the rumors and reports are true, it is the final film, the final installment in the Sony-verse experiment. You know, the Spider-Man movies about Spider-Man villains, but don't have Spider-Man in the goddamn movies. Holy shit, who would have thunk that something like that would not have worked? Granted, the Venom movies have made money, and there are still people who enjoy the Venom movies, bless their heart. But luckily, everything else has failed so hard that they're giving up. We did it, guys. We did it. This film is directed by J.C. Chandor, and I feel bad for this director. Not so much for this movie. I mean, he got paid, and I'm sure it did him well in that respect. But just like a week ago, this guy put out a statement almost begging the audience to give his movie a chance. He even admitted that the Sony films have not been of quality. But our film's different. Give it a chance. So I can respect that. I can respect that honesty. But that honesty only goes so far because you lied. Your movie's not different. Your movie's just as bad as every one of these other Sony, Marvel, Spider-Man-less films. What are you talking about, dude? This movie sucks. This movie's atrocious. This movie's terrible. This movie has so many bad things about it. The first bad thing that I want to talk about, and like I said, they put out the first 8 minutes online because it was like a decent action sequence of Aaron Taylor Johnson in this prison fighting his way out. And the action in this movie, I guess for the most part, is fine. There's a couple of CGI of him running up walls, but the CGI looks like shit. But I want to give them credit for some of the action and for some of the bloodshed, because this is one of their first, I think, right? Their first rated R film in their verse. So I'm trying here. I'm trying to be somewhat positive, or I'm trying to be somewhat fair, because I don't want to sound like I'm just a hater. I'm really not, I'm telling it like it is. And I'm not pretending to hate this movie more than I already did. I will also admit that it wasn't like I was sitting there seething and hating and angry the entire time, because mostly I was apathetic. I was more so in a state of I don't care. Partially because I know it's over, but mostly because I've been through this so many times. I've seen so many of Sony just fucking up their own IP. They're fucking up their own Spider-Man use that they could actually be making good to decent movies with, and they just choose not to. They actively are destroying their brand. They actively are destroying these films with how dumbed down the story is, how dumbed down the dialogue is, the script. This script is terrible. A lot of the dialogue that these actors are forced to say in the delivery. Let's go through this. Aaron Taylor Johnson, who, yes, he's already played Quicksilver in a Marvel film, Avengers Age of Ultron. I guess because this isn't a part of that, kind of, sort of, he's just able to play Kraven the Hunter. And Aaron Taylor Johnson, if this was the first movie I had ever seen him in, luckily it's not. Luckily, I had been watching Aaron Taylor Johnson for years. Fuck it, almost decades now, right? He's been around forever, and he's been doing so many different types of roles. He's given so many different types of performances. Thankfully, I know he's a good actor. Thankfully, I can look at him and say, no, that guy is fucking good. This movie, you would never know, because this movie, he's so generic. He's so dry in his delivery. He's so monotone. He's so no emotion. There's nothing to relate to this guy. There's nothing to sort of want to follow him on his, quote, journey, whatever that journey is, that you don't care. You have no opinion. You have no thought of this guy at all. they try so hard to hit you over the head of like, he's a good guy. Even though he kills people, he kills the bad people. He kills people who are worse than him. He kills people who kill animals. And that's supposed to be a thing of like, well, that's why I like him. Even though he does not feel like Kraven the character. Forget that, though, because I know that's a very fanboy thing of me to say, look at the fucking shirt I'm wearing. I'm obviously a huge fucking fan of Spider-Man. I've been so since I was, like, since I can remember. And so, yes, I have my own opinions of how Kraven should be interpreted, how he should be portrayed, how he should be put on screen in live action for the first time ever. Yes, I have opinions about that, but forget all of that. If you're just talking about a movie with a guy that's supposed to be your protagonist, that's supposed to be your lead hero that you care about and that you want to see do well, you don't care. There is nothing to that. The explanation of his powers, holy fuck. And how they rushed it, and how they... I mean, in the trailer, you see that it's lion's blood that falls into his cut. And yeah, there's a lot of other magic, mumbo-jumbo bullshit that plays into it, but it's the most bare-bones, silliest origin I think I've ever seen. Some of the other cast and actors, Russell Crowe, who, yes, I would have hoped and wished to not see Russell Crowe in a bad movie like this, because I do respect him as an actor. You can argue that his good performances have been few and far in between recently, because just he's getting older. You can tell that he's just getting the paycheck now. I will say that at least he kind of tried. At least he's the only actor that gave an accent that felt like he was a foreign Russian type villain, which is kind of the accent that Kraven should have. I don't know why nobody told Aaron Taylor Johnson that Kraven should have an accent, or Kraven should not just sound like a dude from New York. Like, I don't get what we are doing here. Who is to blame for this bullshit? Even if you're Sony and you're trying to create this universe, if you're trying to one day do a Sinister Six film, why are you dumbing these characters down this hard to where they don't resemble who you're supposed to be creating at all? Dimitri is the brother of Kraven, and he would go on to be another Spider-Man villain. We don't really have to talk about that or get into that. I will say that the dynamic of Kraven and Dimitri growing up, and even when they're older and Kraven's still trying to be there for him, it's like, I can kind of try to see the good in that, at least the decent aspects of the story to that, but it's so rushed and it's so much in the background, and especially when you see where it goes to, the ending, the wrap-up of that, I'm like, holy fuck, you guys just rushed this and didn't even bother to make any of that make sense. He's just throwing out dialogue of like, oh yeah, this happened, and then this happened, and then that happened. And now, he's that. Fuck off. Try a little bit. This movie's over 2 hours long, and it still felt rushed. It still felt like not enough happened to flesh out this stuff. Alessandro Nivola, who plays the Rhino. Here's another actor that I've seen be good in other stuff, and I can also at least say that he felt like he was the only one who knew that this movie was bullshit, and so he was kind of being a little goofy and a little over the top. Not too over the top, but he tried to bring some personality and some liveliness to his character. Now, he turns into the Rhino. And fuck. Between the CG effects of him turning into the Rhino, when you see the Rhino in his final form, I'm not going to say that there wasn't some attempt to maybe make this Rhino look more like comic book Rhino. Sure, I can see that, but that doesn't mean it looked good. That doesn't mean that it is good. That doesn't mean that I'm sitting here actually saying out loud that Paul Giamatti's Rhino is better than the Rhino that we got here. And that's saying a lot. Goddamn. Christopher Abbott, who, again, I have seen this actor in quite a few things. He's a good actor. He's about to be in the Wolfman movie coming out soon. He plays another villain. There's so many fucking villains in this film. There's so much going on, and not in a good way. He plays a villain called The Foreigner, and in the comics, he's an assassin. He was married to Silver Sable. Once again, it's like there's some decent background ideas that is not touched upon here at all. But the way how he's used, just a secondary guy, he has these abilities that's not explained. It's just, he's just here. He's here to be here, and they don't know what the fuck to do with him. Also, Ariana DeBose plays Calypso, another character from the comics. And I will say that I like the actress because she's pretty. Yes, she's very attractive. And also, I looked her up and saw that she was in some stuff. I've heard that she's been good in other stuff. So I'm trying to be kind and nice here, but her delivery in this film was rough. There was a couple scenes that it felt like she was either ADR'd by somebody else, or maybe they had her redub her lines, because a lot of her lines looked off, sounded like she was in another room. I'm trying so hard to be nice to the actors and characters because it's just, fuck. Sony just, I've never seen a studio. For as much as people think Disney Marvel is fucking stuff up, and we don't have to debate that right now. For as much as people did not like what DC was doing for the longest time, and now they're rebooting, I've never seen a studio actively ruin and destroy their property and not know what the fuck to do with their property more than this. Even the Transformers movies, even name any property that has gone downhill. This is the worst. Because you could argue that they've never really been on track to do anything good from the start. God damn, man. This was it. This felt almost like closure. There is a part of me that feels like it's over, But then watch Sony just say, fuck it, we're going to go right back and we're going to do something else. We're going to take the Vulture, poor Michael Keaton, who's stuck in limbo, and what are we going to do? I'm going to give this movie a fuck you.
Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you. Fuck you.
Anyways, guys, let me know in the comments below. Did you see Kraven the Hunter? What did you think of it? Are you glad the universe is over? Thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Later.